Well, hello there. Welcome to the show. I am very excited about today's episode. I'm going to be speaking with Kayse Morris, a former 8th grade school teacher. She's also an online business owner, mom of 4, and the founder of the CEO Teacher Movement. Now, when Kayse was still working in the classroom over a decade ago, she started a little side hustle, and this was just to pay for her Netflix bill. She began selling her lesson plans online, and things just grew from there. Today, Kayse has built a 7-figure business and now coaches thousands of educators through her top-ranking podcast and her CEO teacher membership. So today we're going to talk about Kayse's journey, but my prayer is that this episode blesses you wherever you are in your journey, because just like Kayse, you can make a difference in the lives of those that you are supposed to impact. It's time to use those gifts, use it for impact, and make a difference in someone's life. So I pray this episode blesses you. Stay tuned. You do not want to miss it. Welcome to Monetize Your Passion, a place for moms with big dreams and an eagerness to turn them into a thriving reality. Whether you're a mother looking to monetize your talents, transition from a stagnant job, or explore a fun side hustle, you're in the right place. I'm Caroline, wife, mother, and the visionary behind Tinseltown Mom, a platform dedicated to helping moms to embrace and pursue their God-given dreams. After interviewing nearly 100 celebrities for my platform, one common theme stands out in their success stories: passion. As a former actress, current writer, celebrity blogger, and certified life coach, passion has always been at the core of my journey. And through it all, I've discovered the power of honing our gifts, learning from our past, and using our experiences to uplift others. Join me on the show as I explore stories of celebrity moms and successful mompreneurs, uncovering the roadmap to their accomplishments. I'll also be sharing business and marketing tips to guide you towards tangible ideas for making money. Here, my hope is that you'll find inspiration from God, encouragement, and practical insights to monetize your passion. Hey moms, I just wanted to chime in here really quickly and just say that if you don't receive my weekly newsletter, you're really missing out. I talk about all things related to my upcoming book. I tell you about the weekly guests that are on my show. Plus, if you sign up for that weekly newsletter today, you can have a free teen productivity planner. Now, this planner will help keep your kids organized in the summer. It has daily, weekly, monthly goals. It has a workout schedule, a reading log. It has bucket list ideas, plus so much more. So if you go to the link in my show notes, you can download that teen productivity planner for free. All right, let's get into this episode. Hi, Kayse. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you. Now, why don't you tell us a little bit more about who you are, how many kids you have, where you're from, and all that other good stuff?
Sure. I'm Kayse Morris, and I'm from a really small town in South Georgia. And I am mom to 4 kids. I have 3 boys and a little girl. And I am a former 8th grade English and language arts teacher who decided about 10 years ago to start selling her lesson plans online. And my life looks radically different than it used to look back then. I struggled through postpartum depression, and we really struggled to make ends meet. But about, like I said, 10 years ago, I started selling my lesson plans online. And the dream was just to pay my Netflix bill back then. And now it has grown into a multi-million-dollar company. It went from $50 my first month to morphing into what it is today, which is the CEO teacher. And we teach teachers how they can make money online. And it's been a wild ride, but I feel so lucky every single day to be able to live this life.
You are such an inspiration. I cannot wait to dive into this conversation. I just love your story. Now, how old are your kids?
So my oldest is 14, and then I have a 13-year-old, and then I have a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old.
Okay, awesome. And I know you started as an 8th grade English teacher. Now, how long were you in the classroom before you thought, you know what, there's more things that I want to do. I have other passions. Like, what did that transition look like?
Yeah, so I taught for 8 years. I did sixth grade English and language arts as well as eighth grade. I split between the two from 4 years, sixth grade, and then 4 years in eighth grade. And, I really didn't know that I had any other passions. All I knew was that I needed to make extra money for my family. And I started to really resent the classroom, not for the children, because I'm a lover of children, I'm a lover of people, but just for the toxicity that was in our school at the time. And everything was a complaint and everything was so difficult. And so I tried to just start filling my mind and my mindset with positivity and positive reinforcements. And I started listening to podcasts and realizing that there was more to life than just living your life on this cycle of rinse and repeat every day, right? It's like I can live a happy life. I just have to choose that every single day. And so listening to people like Amy Porterfield and Pat Flynn and Jenna Kutcher and listening to a lot of books over the years, it was like, okay, I am worthy of more than this. And so that's when the idea of, I wonder if I could just make some extra money online and see if I could light myself up again as a teacher in the classroom, not with any hopes of leaving the classroom at that time. And it just turned into what it is. And so I continued to do that from 2013 until 2018, which is when I left the classroom to do this full time.
Wow. So the impetus was you just wanting to make more money. And then it kind of grew. Did it grow into some sort of passion when you started doing your own thing? Is that how that happened?
It did. I'm very competitive by nature. And so when I got made $50 my first month, I was like, ooh, like I wonder what I could do the next month and then the next month. And so it was a challenge for me. And it inadvertently was helping me be a much better teacher because I was challenged to make better lessons and to find more, activities that were fun for my students. And the more I put into it, the more I got from it financially, but also from my own students in the classroom. And so that's kind of how everything started and the ball got to rolling. And it wasn't until year three when everything really changed for us, for myself with the business. And I started understanding search engine optimization and things like that. And my business grew radically in a very short amount of time when I realized, wow, I may have something I can do where this is a full-time job.
Wow. So within those 3 years, you weren't at that time teaching other teachers. You were actually selling your lesson plans and making all this money online. That's what you were doing.
Yeah, I didn't start helping teachers until 2018. So I did it for 5 years by myself, just selling my lesson plans by myself before I created an online course.
Wow. Okay. So for the first 3 years, you sold your material online. And then I believe I think I heard you on one of your shows saying that's when you transitioned and you left the classroom after year three. And then you were selling your lesson plans, making six figures. Is that correct?
Yeah, so I started selling my lesson plans on Teachers Pay Teachers in 2013. In year three, 2016-ish, I started making over $100,000 a year just selling my lesson plans online. And so that was my goal, is if I can do that and I can recreate the magic one more time, I will leave the classroom. And so I waited 2 more years before I had the guts to finally do it. And I left the classroom in January of 2018. And in November, I decided to answer the number one question people ask me in Walmart is like, Kayse, you left the classroom. You must be struggling financially. How are you making ends meet? You seem so happy. And I was like, no, it's great. Like I should teach you. I should show you how to do this. And at that time, my YouTube channel had really taken off where I was already doing this. I had already been helping teachers for the past couple of years through my YouTube channel for free. And so that was kind of the catalyst too for how a lot of people knew who I was and how they found me.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. Like, how did you get the word out? So, because I always stress that long form content is key to marketing, whether it's a YouTube channel, a podcast, or a blog. So you were doing your YouTube channel and that's how people kind of discovered who you were. And then was that how you started teaching other teachers through that channel, the YouTube channel?
Yeah, that was kind of how it started. I was just trying to show people about my classroom. And then I was in love with selling lesson plans. So I started getting good at all the tech stuff. So I would do little videos about like, here's how you update your TPT store. Here's how you make a cute cover. And those videos were doing really well. And so I would throw those in there because I didn't want to always be selling something because they would do really well. And I realized really quickly that, oh, they're doing really well because people want to know more about this. And so it took me a little bit longer than I thought, about 2 or 3 years into it before I was like, I can monetize this and maybe try to sell. But when I sold the course, I really thought that it was going to make like a couple, like $3,000 or $4,000, just enough for extra money for my family for Christmas. Like I had no expectations of what it was going to be.
So yeah, so that's what I'm always trying to encourage moms with. Sometimes they don't even want to start with anything because whether it's fear or they don't think that they can do it or they're trying to make it perfect. So I know when you started your course, I'm sure it wasn't perfect. A lot of moms think everything has to be perfect before they start anything. So what did that first course look like that you created and sold?
Yeah, it was not perfect, but I knew that I wanted it to be my best foot forward because I was really interested in helping teachers. And I knew that if I could teach teachers how to make money, that it might be a little bit more successful than what I was doing. And so I said, I want to put my best foot forward. How can I do this in the best way? So I really started researching not only how to create the course, which is important, but also how to put it out there into the world. And I will say that what you do is less important as the awareness that you draw to what you do. And so I set out on a mission of 8 weeks of putting as much content in the world as I could. I started a podcast and I started talking about what I was going to do, like how I was going to help people. And I did a lot of, of course, for 8 weeks, it was absolutely for free. I started doing Facebook Lives and jumping on my Instagram. And I started preparing my email list at that time because I knew what was coming, but I wanted to make sure I did it the right way. And I did a video series to launch it where I taught people for days, step by step, how to do things. And then eventually that led to my course. And so I will say that I believe that that is the reason why my course was so successful in that first launch. And it wasn't perfect. The course itself was not great, but the awareness piece of it all, right, is like
Yeah.
making sure that people know exactly what it is that you're going to sell. That to me is so much more important than the finished product of what you have. Now, I do encourage you to make sure the finished product is great, but make sure that you are letting everyone know exactly what it is you're going to be selling or teaching them so that they are sure. Because when you confuse, you lose. And a lot of times we create this program and then we're like, barely talk about it and we hope it works. But the key there is just making sure that everyone is very aware of who you are and who you're willing to serve.
Yeah, that is so good because a lot of times moms who will try something, they're trying everything because they don't really know what their niche is. So they're putting a lot of things out there. And, it does get confusing for the audience because they don't know exactly what they need to buy from that person. So that's very true. Like, are you of the mindset that you choose and you pick one thing and you stick with that?
Yes. So I very much so. I read the book, one of my favorite books when I was first getting started by Dr. Stephen Covey that changed my life. It's called 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And one of my favorite quotes from that book is the main thing is to keep the main thing, the main thing. And so I stress that so much to our students in our programs because we are multi-passionate beings as moms, right? It's like we love to do all kinds of things. But in the online business world is the more that you do, the more people you are willing to help, the less people you actually help. Because it's just very confusing. When you confuse, you lose. People don't know who you are and who you serve. And so we as moms in general and as women, I think sometimes we're scared of putting people off. So we want to attract everyone when the reality of business is that you should push and pull. You should pull your people in and push the rest away. And it sucks because you want to be everyone's friend. But in the business world, you have to remember that the people that go all in are the people that win. And so when you find that main thing, that's when you need to make sure that you go all in and don't just go all in for a couple weeks and then change it. You have to fully commit to your thing.
Yeah. Now, when would you recommend that? Let's say someone has a main thing and they want to add another thing. Like, when would you recommend they add another thing?
Is it related to the main thing? If it's
Yeah.
not, if it's okay, so I think that there's a happy medium here that if you have, so what we teach in our programs is about pillars of content. And so we have a main thing. And then from that, we have about 4 pillars that come off of that, things that inadvertently relate back to our main thing. And so if you start a website or you start a social media channel, for example, I'm really passionate about nutrition and really passionate about exercise, which has nothing to do with teaching teachers how to make money online, but it does because what I'm teaching are these habits and these different things in life that I have been given the gift of now. I've been given the gift of time to do. And so I'm showing them the opportunity of, because I was a teacher and made money online, I've now been given such a gift of time where I can teach and live a life on my own terms and take care of myself through self-care and nutrition and my health. And so if you look at it from an outside perspective, you may say those things have nothing in common. But if you think about it, when you really break down the idea of a business model, you can you can't branch out. You don't have to be stuck in one area. But I'm not selling water bottles. I'm not selling treadmills. I'm not selling, an online workout program. I know that all of these different areas are a means to the North Star, which is to get them to be in our membership or be a part of our community and know who we are. So you can branch out, but I don't believe you can be as successful as you should be if you have more than one main thing. You could be okay at everything, or you could be great at one thing.
That's so good. Now, what exactly do you teach in your program without giving away your secrets, of course? Like, let's
Yeah.
say there's a teacher that wants to come to you and they want to make more money. Like, what will they get from you?
Yeah, so when we first got started, I was under the impression that I just wanted to teach teachers how to sell their lesson plans online because that's all I knew how to do. But then over the years, over the last 6 years, we've developed a really important success path journey for teachers because not only are teachers selling their lesson plans, but a lot of them are getting out of the classroom, they're starting their own companies. And so we have 10 different pathways that people can choose whenever they get into our programs, from becoming an online influencer to becoming a blogger to selling their digital lesson plans, but also selling physical products online to starting a website. There's so many different areas, but under all of those areas are our 6 main steps. And so we teach teachers how to establish a true business, design that business, research it, market it, streamline it, and then flourish into whatever they want. Some of our teachers are making millions of dollars now. And so it's been such a beautiful journey to watch it evolve. The CEO teacher, when it first began, was just this little baby idea, which I think is important for people to realize is that every idea starts as this little tiny mustard seed and it begins to grow as long as you water it. It begins to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And so the product you see today is not there were so many hard times, so many rough roads for us. And so it's easy for me to tell you right now what it looks like, but we started so very small.
Yeah. Now, is the goal to get the teacher out of the classroom, or do you have like a mix of teachers still in the classroom? Like, is that the main goal?
Our goal is to have a teacher live the life they choose. And so a lot of teachers are looking to leave. And so if that's their goal, we help them get there, hopefully as fast as they can. Some of them leave in the first year. But the reality is that financially, not a lot of teachers can leave, or they don't want to leave their health benefits, or they don't want to leave the stability. And so we just want to make sure that whatever their goals are, whether it's work part-time, work full-time and do this, or leave the classroom, we can help them get there. It's not a matter of if, it's just when and how hard you want to work.
Yeah. Now, just going back to the beginning for you when you first started, like what were some of the fails that you had, like when you first started trying to get your business underway? Because sometimes, that helps you learn from those. And, there's some moms listening who they're afraid to fail, but
Yeah.
that's part of the journey. Like, what were some things that you went through and that you overcame?
Comparison is the thief of joy and everything in life. And so my mindset was not very good until recently. And I still struggle. I have good days and bad days, but I compare myself to everyone else. And so I compared my beginning to someone else's middle or someone else's end of their journey. And I said, I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy of this. And as a teacher, and I think as moms, oftentimes we feel like we're not worthy of success, like we aren't good enough or we don't deserve this. And so as I've grown in who I am, I realize that I am worthy of a life worth living. I'm worthy to, I can deserve anything that I desire, because I have a good heart and I have a great heart of service and I'm a good person. And so I live my life that way now, is that even though there are all these things that I struggled with in the beginning, as far as comparing myself and not thinking I was good enough and taking months off at a time because I was like, this is not worth it. I realize now that as long as you continue to push forward and you remember the sentiment of be a good human, be good to all people, that there is no way that success will not find you. There's no way. And so that's the difference to me between successful people and unsuccessful people, is that they know with an insatiable doubt, like with an undeniable doubt, that I can do this. And so anyone listening, I just want to reiterate that there are going to be a lot of hard times. I mean, from hateful emails that people sent, to people putting me on blast on YouTube, to being in a Facebook group where my idols, people I was obsessed with, started tagging me and saying I was doing a horrible job or I copied someone else. And breaking down. Like I didn't even know who to turn to, or I felt like I was all alone. And all I knew in my heart was that those things weren't true. And so I had to really fight for who I was. And I had to calmly stand my ground and not get involved in the drama, not get involved in what was going on. And so over time, and it was like these just little series of habits that became keystone habits. So anyone struggling, there are so many roadblocks, there are so many things, but now I look at them as like these lessons, and God's just showing me, you know what? There may be a bump in the road right now, but trust me. And so if this didn't work out, trust me. I don't get caught up in it anymore. And I don't go, oh man, this was the plan and this didn't work. I go, okay, I just have to trust that there's a better thing on the other side of this, where I used to think, what's the worst case scenario? How's that all going to pan out? And I would create it because I would think about it in my mind. And so now I think, what's the best case scenario and how can I play that out in my mind? And that has proven to serve me well in the last couple of years.
Wow, that's so well said. And I always tell moms too to pray about it, because if it is a God-led passion, he will open the doors. Like even if it's difficult and it feels like it's hard, he'll open the doors, he'll pave the way for you. So
Always,
that was
always.
so well said. And I think I heard you in an interview with Jasmine Starr. I think
Yeah,
you were interviewing her. It was such a good interview. It was from 2019, I believe, when you first started your podcast.
yeah.
And I think you were telling her at some point you were getting like some hate mail or emails or something like that. And that was like a pivotal moment, because I think it was like when you first started. Like, how do you
Mhm.
navigate that? Because I know of people who are scared to start because they're scared to put themselves out there, and maybe people aren't happy with their message. Like, how did you handle it then, I guess? And what would you say to that just in general?
I want you to see the comparison too of when you get started and I thought the bigger I got, the worse it would get, the worse the emails would get, the more people would reach out. We haven't received a hateful email in years, years. What a blessing, right?
Yeah.
Not saying that it won't come. I'm sure it will, but we always go back to, and I want everyone to remember this, hurt people hurt people. And so people say things because of something they are going through in their life. Now, we carry this whole idea. If it's a problem we can fix, we will always fix it. If it is a problem with themselves or how they view something, we can't fix that. We can only hope to guide them in the right direction. And so I got to take myself out of the inbox personally, and I don't have to um it's not about me anymore. It's about the company, which is amazing. But in the beginning, it was, you stole my idea, or you told me this, and this isn't what you did. And, or you posted this on social media. I got a phone call one night in the middle of the night because I had posted on social media something about, you know, falling in love with teaching was what I always wanted to do, but it just wasn't my reality. And I got a phone call that was like, you need to take that down right now. That is so hateful to teachers and so disrespectful. How could you do that? And I remember being like, am I being hateful? Am I being disrespectful to teachers? And if I am, then I need to own up to that. If I am not, then I need to stand my ground and say, this is who I am. This is what I believe. And so it was a lot of growing. Now, I'll be honest, I'm a non-confrontational person, so I'm not going to fight with you about it, but it's taken a lot of work. And I can honestly say that I don't get worked up about any of those things anymore. I mean, I got 4 kids, that puts life into perspective. The only people with opinions I care about are my kids. And so as long as they know that mom is doing her best work, that's really important to me. So I think when you take your focus and your attention off of what the bad could be, it's so much more beautiful on the other side of what the good is going to be.
That's so good. And I think that just all falls under the umbrella of fear. There's so
Yeah.
many things that you could be fearful about. That's one of them. So, what about the person? I'm sure you've encountered the person who you see such great potential in them. Maybe you've helped them, but for some reason, and I don't know if it's because they don't have a dream or a vision for themselves and they just don't choose to continue forward. Like
Mhm.
for me, like I feel like if I'm coaching someone and I see their great potential, but they just choose not to move forward in it, sometimes I do take it kind of personally and it's kind of hurtful because it's like, oh, I see this great potential in you. You can help so many people, but they just don't do it. Like, do you have any thoughts or feelings when you feel like you've helped someone and they just don't show up the way that you want them to?
Yeah, I used to be like that a lot. And I think that that was really part of, we had, a lot of bumps in our road about year 3 when we started helping teachers. And I had to learn to let go. I read a book by Michael Singer. There's 2 books. It's called The Surrender Experience and The Surrender Experiment and The Untethered Soul. And in those books, what I learned was that it is not my job to control anyone else's life journey. It is only the job of God to guide them and to them to listen if they want to. So if my programs are not part of their life's journey, that is nothing that I can change. It's not in my circle of control. It's not even in my circle of influence. I can influence them, of course, chatting with them, but whatever they have in their own circles, that is going to dictate how they choose to live their life. And so learning about the circle of influence and the circle of control from the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People too, it allowed me to let go and let God in a lot of situations. And I'm not great at it. I still work at it, but it kind of goes back to you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. And so what I have to show our students now is the undeniable proof that what I teach you is reality, that this has happened to thousands of other teachers, that it's not just me making millions of dollars. Now our teachers are making millions of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars. And so here are their stories. And I can want it for you, but if you don't want it for yourself, it's never going to happen. And so when I teach on webinars is that we know that this works. The only way this doesn't work is if you quit. So that's a personal choice. And we all decide in other ways, and we all have life situations on why we don't choose. But many people don't choose to be successful because the fear of success stops them. Life is easy being complacent. Life is easy going back to the way that things were because it's comfortable and it's familiar. Choosing the path of least resistance is what humans like to do. And I think that's with love. I think that's with relationships. I think that's with money. That's with success. That's with your faith. That's with anything, is that in order to be someone you aren't, in order to be someone you aren't today, it's going to take a lot of growing and it's not going to be easy. And so the last couple of years, I've just kind of taken it upon myself to say, I want to choose hard. I want to choose hard today and I want to choose hard every day. And we got to get emotional about it because there's a lot of different types of hard. And I heard living in your same life is hard. Being overweight or not having what you've always wanted and needed in life is hard. Pushing forward is also very hard. And so you have to choose every single day. I don't remember, that's from a book that I recently read. I didn't make that up myself, but you have to choose your hard. And so I'm going to get up and choose the hard over the easy hard.
I love that so much. That is so well said. Going back to your business, now I know in year 3, you scaled to 6 figures. When did you scale to 7 figures in your business?
That was year 8. So let's see, I take that back. Year 3, I can do it sequentially. So I made about $600 my first year. I made about $6,000 my second year. Year 3, I made $95,000. So we said 6 figures year 3. Then I made 115, 125. And then the next year it went to 445,000. That was in 2018. And in 2019, we had our first $1 million year.
When is your book coming out?
Oh, you're so sweet. I don't have one in the process, but I know what it's going to be called. So.
Oh, can you say?
No.
Oh, I know.
Like it's been a dream of mine forever, right? So I have a book title, but maybe this is the push I needed today to get it written.
Yes, you so have a book in you. It will be very successful once you actually publish it.
Thank you. I love that. Thank you so much. I have big dreams about that. So maybe this is the kickstart I needed.
Oh, good. And just as we wind down, so to the mom who's listening and she's stuck in life, whether she's stuck with the finances or just with her dreams, she feels like she doesn't have any anymore. Now, what would you say to her? She wants to start, but she just doesn't know what to do.
So I get emotional about religion and mom. So, and like being a mom. So, as a mom, for me, I just looked at my kids every day. And I said, what I want for them. And so, to this day, having my daughter has changed me. And so I had my first $1 million year the year before I had her. And I was like, I'm going to show this girl Like her mama can do anything. And so boys are important too, but just look, I just want to encourage you that when you rock your baby to sleep at night, it's not about the money at all. It's about what kind of life can you provide for your child? And for me, it was, I want my babies to have a happy mama. And so it never was about the money initially. I know that I talk about money and it's exciting to talk about those things, but what I've been given is such a gift. I get to take my kids to school every day. I took them all to Sedona a couple months ago, actually. We went to a Braves game. Money is no longer a limited resource in my life. I don't over splurge on my children, right? I don't buy them expensive gifts or expensive clothes even, but the gift of time, the gift of love that I've been able to give them because mommy's not stressed anymore. I don't wake up frazzled. We don't yell to get in the car. When I was a teacher, it was scream fest. I'm trying to rush and get them ready for school and get to school on time. And I dealt with those kids all day. And when I got home, I didn't have any energy left for my kids. My kids got the rest of me, not the best of me. And so to the mama that is listening, I just want you to know that it doesn't have to be making $1 million in a year. It could be making $30,000 in a year. But when you find something that your heart loves, everything in your life gets better. And so we weren't made to work like we do. We were made to be happy and to live a good life. And that's always my goal for my students and anyone listening is just remember that your kids deserve the best of you, not the rest of you.
Is that your quote? I want to quote you.
I don't know. I said it for years. I don't know. I mean, I read a lot. So I would say that nothing I say is original.
Usually when I hear a quote, I just Google it to see where it originally came from.
Yeah, do that. I don't want to ever take credit for it. I'm very serious about giving authors credit where credit is due. But I try to read a couple books a month. And so I'm very passionate about reading as well. So I would say, no, I did not come up with that, but we should Google it and see.
Yeah. And it's so important you mentioned kids because I always try to encourage my kids to pursue their God-led passions. Yeah. They need to see us pursuing our passions. That brings us so much fulfillment and joy, not like you mentioned, because we want to make $1 million, but because there's something in that. Like often leading to a God-led passion can lead to a purpose. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Because I pursued my passions. My husband pursued his passions when we were younger. We actually were able to meet up and get married because we pursued our passions. Do you know what I mean?
Yes. Preach. Yeah. You got to be your own person. I recently watched a documentary on Netflix about people that live the longest in the world. And so they thought that it was just because of what they ate. They thought it was like the vegetables and things like that. But what they found was that these people were growing their own food as well. And so the passion and the love and the purpose behind I'm growing what's going to take care of me, they believe is just as important, if not as important as what they were putting in their mouth. And so I was like, that's so important to note, right? That's such an important life lesson there is that whatever we're fueling our lives with, whether it's trashy reality television or listening to teachers talk in the teacher's lounge or listening to people complain, the more you center yourself around that energy, the more you become that. And so just remember that if you like you said, your God-led passion, center yourself around people that believe in you and hype you up. It's the best part of life.
That's so awesome. You're from Georgia, right?
I am. Yeah.
I'm from Alabama. So I'm just going to say roll tide.
Yes. Okay. Well, we're going to agree to disagree on this.
I just had to throw that out there.
I love it. I love it.
Thank you so much, Kayse, for being here today. This was so great. Now, where can people find you if they want to learn more about you? Or if they're interested in maybe one of your programs, maybe they're a teacher. Do they have to be a teacher to be in your program?
We usually just try to attract teachers, but we only open enrollment for our membership twice a year. It's currently closed for enrollment. Depending on when you're listening to this, we do this in the spring and in the fall. And so you can always find me, Kayse Morris. It's KayseMorris on Instagram. You can find me at KayseMorris.com. And we have a top marketing podcast in the world called the CEO Teacher Podcast. And it's been a wild ride. So if you know a teacher, a friend, be sure to share this with them. I would be forever grateful.
Awesome. I hope you learned something today. If you did, I would love to hear from you by way of an encouraging review. As you know, this platform is meant to be a blessing to mothers. So any support you give would be so appreciated. Until next time.